An act related to taxation, historic preservation tax credits, apprenticeship programs. It requires the historic preservation apprenticeship program, which would be subject to the regulations of the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training. Representative McEntee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What this bill does is, I'll first explain the current law. The historic tax credit apprenticeship requirements are that any credit allowed under this chapter for hard construction costs valued at $10 million or more shall include a requirement that any contractor and subcontractor working on the project shall have an apprentice program as defined by the Department of Labor. Now, this is only for contractors and subcontractors with 5 or more employees. What we are attempting to do here in this bill is that many times, I mean, we love historic tax credits, and, you know, we particularly like preserving historic buildings and our historic nature of Rhode Island. But what we're trying to do is that if historic tax credits are given on a project and out-of-state developers are hired to do the project, who then bring in out-of-state contractors with their out-of-state employees, what we would like them to do is, in accordance with this bill, would be to register in Rhode Island for the state apprenticeship program and bring in apprentices that would work on the project, such as carpenters, painters, and the like. And that at least, since we're spending Rhode Island tax dollars, we could at least be able to put some Rhode Islanders to work, or at least in training to work. So that's the premise of this bill. I think it's a good bill, and I think it gives back to Rhode Island and it trains Rhode Islanders for the work that's necessary. So since we can't say that all construction jobs have to go to Rhode Islanders, hopefully we can at least get some benefit for the apprentice program and for people learning these jobs. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I believe I have somebody from the Contractors Association here, Contractors Union, excuse me, Ben Branchaud, and I know he would like to testify.
Come on up, Ben.
Yeah. Hello? Okay. Good evening. My name is Ben Branchaud. I'm with Carpenters Union Local 94 in Warwick, Rhode Island. I'm on construction sites every day, and I see a lot of the good that historic tax credits achieve in rebuilding and repurposing these old buildings. Most of the time it's mills. So in going to some of these construction sites, we immediately see a lot of out-of-state plates, which isn't a problem. But so like Representative McEntee said, the intent is to have the out-of-state contractors who come in register with the Rhode Island Department of Labor. Right now, any apprenticeship program throughout the country is accepted, and I think the purpose is to get to make sure that we're putting Rhode Islanders to work with Rhode Island tax money. Yeah. So I submitted written testimony. Somebody else from the Carpenters Union, Michael Holmes, submitted written testimony. So I have my written testimony here, but I'm not going to read it to you. Just there's a few stories in there of what's happened recently on historic tax credit funded projects involving 2 contractors. One of them is in a November 2015 Branchaud article where a painter working for Lasco was never paid overtime. He was working 10-hour days, 15-minute breaks. He currently has a claim with the Massachusetts Attorney General. That contractor is currently working on a historic tax credit funded project. He's an out-of-state contractor. That's one of 2 examples I have here that are both currently working on a project funded by these tax credits. This is kind of just a step in stopping that type of wage theft from out-of-state contractors by putting Rhode Islanders to work It subjects these contractors to the regulations that we already have in place at the Department of Labor when registering for an apprenticeship program. So these out-of-state contractors, they would never be barred from bidding on these jobs or working on these jobs. They would come in and they would have to go to the DLT and just simply register and follow the regulations that come with registering for an apprenticeship program. So it will never stop an out-of-state developer from coming in. The fees are currently like $125, and in talking to the DLT, it seems that they're even doing away with the fees. So the developers aren't going to feel it. The contractors can just go register. So it's just a step. So I'm obviously here in support of the bill. I think it's good for Rhode Island. Thank you.
Any questions for Benjamin? Thank you, Benjamin.